What is going on, everyone? We are back in our Bears franchise in Madden 17, and it is now time for the free agency period of the offseason. We got our re-signing players done in the last episode. Now it is time to bring in some new pieces to our team. Now, before we do that, a couple of position changes. Sam Acho has been moved to left outside linebacker, and then something that has been requested a couple times. I have swapped Adrian Amos and Voorhees Greg. So Greg now the strong safety, Amos the free safety. Looking at their positions and their attributes again, they do fit a little bit better into those respective positions. So that's what we're going with. And now to free agency, we have $33 million to spend. And I talked about this at the end of the last episode. There are basically three positions that we are focusing on here to start with. And then we'll see, depending on how that goes, what we do as far as signing some other guys. Left guard, Collins there. That is the number one target we're going after here. We'll get back to him in a second. With the offensive line in general, could use some upgrades. We could use a better center, maybe a better backup. We need a backup at left tackle, actually, but really nothing else jumping out to me. So we're going to go back to Collins. La'el Collins, I think. Is that how you say his first name? But look at this, 88 overall. He's a superstar development. I don't know why the Cowboys let him go, to be honest, because he also does not want a lot of money. He only wants $5.45 million per year, which is, I think, pretty cheap for an elite left guard. And as I think we end up moving over here and looking, he is the number one rated left guard in the league. Yes, there you see top right there. He is the number one rated left guard at 80 overall. He's in the top 2% of left guards. I don't know how the Cowboys let him go, but you know what? It's going to hopefully be to our benefit because I'm going to try and do whatever I can to sign this guy. So just with the base request that he wants, that is going to put us above the Lions. We're at 83 points with our bid. They're at 81, so we'll see what happens there. Next up is going to be defensive end. We lost Akeem Hicks. We let him go, actually. We didn't lose him. We let him go. So there he is. And there's a couple guys here. Stephen Tuitt, the former 3-4 end for... was he a member of the Cardinals or was he a Steeler? I can't remember what team he's from, but he looks very, very good. And then Rashid Hageman, former Falcon, who maybe is kind of the plan B to Tuitt. Tuitt looks to be like a pretty good player, but Hageman actually doesn't look too bad either. But looking at Stephen Tuitt here, he went $6.31 million. I mean, you can see his attributes. The only thing not green is his speed, while Hageman has a couple. His finesse and his play recognition are going to be not green. But ultimately, I decide... try and save a little bit of money. I mean, honestly, our one defensive end isn't going to make or break our defense because our defense is already pretty good. So I'm going to go with the offer for Hageman. We'll see what happens there, and hopefully that will allow us to maybe spend some more money elsewhere. Corner, LaMarcus Joyner is an interesting prospect here, and there's actually a lot of pretty good corners. Darqueze Dennard was a guy we looked at for trading last year when we got Tony Lippett. He ended up getting traded later on to the Baltimore Ravens. Now he is in free agency, and he's taken a bit of a free fall. So I'm going to leave corner alone for right now. We'll see what happens there later. But then tight end here, Eric Ebron is sitting atop the tight end list, 82 overall. One of the better pure receiving tight ends in the league. Boy, would it be nice to have him to pair with Tyler Higbee. But still, trying to look and see what else is out there. I come across Cameron Brate, and this is a guy here, only wants $3.28 million. Another good receiving tight end. So comparing him with Ebron, and again, it's another situation where we just gave Higbee about $11 million. I decide, let's try and maybe save a little bit of money. In comparing Cameron Brate to Eric Ebron, the ratings aren't horribly different between the two, and actually Brate is a little bit better blocker, so he maybe has a little bit more versatility. So ultimately, I'm going to offer Brate the contract. Again, we'll see if we can save a little bit of money. We still sit at $20 million to use here. Looking at wide receiver now, Marquise Lee is an interesting guy as he has some pretty good attributes. He's a solid receiver and could be one of those perfect backups that we have for depth here. Now, the first go-around, this is all I'm going to go with. Those three guys, Collins, Hageman, Brate. I want to make sure we address the three biggest positions of need, and then we'll kind of look at the backups after we get through this first week. So, stage one, this is all we're going to do. We'll see if we're going to get these guys. I'm going to advance here to stage number 2. It would be great to go a perfect 3 for 3 right away, but we're going to find out here, and we get an accepted from Brate, Hageman, and Collins, so we have signed all three guys. And honestly, right now, I mean, this is a successful free agency period. If we stop here, this is perfect. Collins going to slot perfectly in there at left guard. For Brate, I'm actually going to leave Higbee the starter for now. I mean, really, they're going to be a 1A, 1B. I'm going to try and run a lot of 2 tight end sets now that we have these two guys. And then on defense, Hageman becomes the starter at right end. We got Rudd at left end. And even with Hageman only a 76 overall, I still think he is going to be very, very good in this defense. And we'll see what else we can do. Now, as far as where we go from here, you can see, I mean, the starters on our defense are pretty well set. And even on offense, they're pretty well set now. And from this point on, we're kind of just looking for backup. So obviously we could use another middle linebacker, a solid middle linebacker for backup, as Jarrell Freeman is still going to be hurt. And then we need a backup strong safety. We also need a new kick returner. Cordero Patterson was our returner. We did not re-sign him. So going back to free agency, let's see who else signed. Ziggy Ansah is out with the Lions. He signed with the Chiefs. That's good to see. Drew Brees is going to sign with the Jets. John Brown back with the Cardinals. Clinton Dix with the Jaguars. Lawrence with the Titans. Jeremy Hill goes to the Jets, so they've got a new quarterback and running back. Tuitt goes to the Cardinals. Ebron goes to the Texans. Moncrief to the Bills. Deion Lewis is back with the Patriots. And looks like that's all the big names so far. So looking at what's still available. Center here. I don't really like any of these center options. I think we're going to try and address center in the draft. There's a couple good center prospects at the top of the first round, or in the first round. That should be about where we're looking at. And honestly, I feel like center is maybe the last remaining starting spot that I would really like to upgrade. Now, looking back at Joyner and the corners, I ultimately decided not to offer any contracts. And actually for the secondary in the rest of free agency, I don't see a lot of guys getting signed. So I want to give the CPU team some time to sign some guys. I don't want to just gobble up all the good ones. So I might just wait even until after the draft to make our remaining signings. Even last year, there were some good guys in free agency when we got to the preseason. So looking at the scouting, the watch list now, I've got one QB in here. It's a first rounder. Honestly, I don't know why I even have him on there, because there's no way we're drafting a quarterback in the first round, but he looked like an okay talent. Actually pretty good throwing power and accuracy, but no way we take him. Halfback, I scouted this heavily when we were still looking for a halfback at the beginning of the year. I still have some guys on here. I'm still going to look for a power back in the draft. And there's a couple guys late there, the 5th and the 7th round, that actually look pretty good. We're probably not looking for any of the guys there at the top anymore because, I mean, there's no way we're going to spend a first rounder on a halfback. So even that guy there in the 2nd, probably no longer an option, even though some of these guys look pretty darn good. DeMarco Stanley looks really good, to be honest with you. He's got a very good combine grade, very good top 3 attributes. Wide receiver, another position that I would like to upgrade, but so far all I have is 4 guys still. These are the same 4 guys I had for the longest time that are great in the first round. There's not a lot of good wide receiver options. Tight end, no longer really a position of need. Left guard isn't. Left tackle we'll still look at. You see there's those 3 guys at center. I don't have any right guards. We've got a couple of right tackles here in the first round, so I kind of feel like we're heading towards a lineman there at the end of the first round. Most likely, I think we picked 21st, so we'll try and get either a center or a right tackle. Middle linebacker, there's 3 really good middle linebacker prospects. I don't know if I want to spend a first rounder on that, and then I have a couple middle round corners, some safeties. We need another, or could use a backup strong safety, but we'll see what happens there. But that is the scouting update, and that's kind of what it's looking like as we head into the draft. Now, looking back at the free agency after we've gone through a couple weeks, Colin Kaepernick is back with the 49ers, but otherwise not a lot of big names at QB. Adrian Peterson has signed with the Bills. That is interesting. McKinnon, it looks like he's going to be the Vikings running back as he's back. And then wide receiver, D'Anthony Thomas goes to the Patriots. Patterson goes to the Saints, but there's still a lot of good wide receivers. Only 1 tight end still signed. Beyond that, looks like there's not many big names. Lawrence was already signed. Only 2 D tackles. So there's still Akeem Nicks goes to the Lions, and how about that? So he leaves the Bears, and we're still going to see him twice a year. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us in the butt. But beyond that, not many other big names. Sam Shields does sign with the Lions as well, so the Lions looking to make some upgrades on their defense. But even still, there's a lot of good corners still available. So again, I think we're just going to stand pat here. We'll let the other teams sign some players because there's still a lot of guys that need to be signed. I'm sure there's a lot of needs. And now looking at the picks, I completely forgot that we have 2 first rounders. We actually have the 13th pick from the Browns, and then we have our pick at number 27. So I actually forgot about that since recording. So that actually does change pretty drastically what we're going to do in the draft. We could maybe even package those 2 to trade up and get a really good player. So we'll have to see. Draft is going to be interesting. Now, simulating through, there are a couple trades here as Brian Arakpo has been traded to the Colts for a 3rd round pick. 3rd rounder is going to be traded to the Buccaneers for J.J. Wilcox. And then look at this. LaShawn McCoy has been traded to the Chiefs for a 6th rounder and Alan Bailey. So the Bills are going with Adrian Peterson, apparently thinking he's a better option over LaShawn McCoy. That is really, really interesting. So nice to see, though, some of the CPU teams making some drastic decisions like that and making some big changes. So that is free agency, though. We make the 3 signings. I know it's not a lot. We didn't do a lot of free agency, but I think we made some 3 very, very good signings, 3 very pivotal signings for this roster. We just, with one guy, greatly improved our offensive line. That should be miles better than it was last year. We shored up our defensive line. We have an upgrade there at tight end. So now going to the draft, we really don't have a lot of needs needs in the draft. We had a really good draft last year. If we can have a really good draft again this year, I think we can set ourselves up to be very, very good in this upcoming season. But now with 2 first-round picks, there's a lot of different things we can do. We could maybe trade up into the top 10 to get a very, very good player. I'm not sure who that would be. I'm going to continue to look at the scouting, make sure the watch list is perfect. I'll try and identify those couple key guys maybe at the top of the first round that look really, really good. And then we'll just have to see how the draft plays out, which that means the next episode is going to be the NFL draft, the most exciting part, I think, of all franchise. Obviously, the most exciting part of the offseason, maybe the most exciting part of the entire year. The NFL draft will be coming at you in the next episode. Make sure you do not miss it. But that is going to be it for this one. If you enjoyed it, please go and give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe to see any future videos that I make. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.